The Braves take on the Nationals, 7:05 p.m. Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's minus 145, totals 9. Charlie Morton starting for Atlanta. No confirmed starter yet for Washington. And following another 4-1 day on my premium pick website, that's going to make it our 6th straight day of winning premium picks on that page. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, the only way to do that is to sign up for a package on my website. We're currently 6-0 in our last 6 $1.99 daily best plays on that site. And if you want to access today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We're also 6-1 in our last 7 extra daily picks on my premium website as well. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, that's only going to cost you just $2.99. Now, we currently have over 800 members who are signed up and active on my premium page. And if you haven't yet signed up for a membership on BrockPage.com, you're most certainly missing out. And regardless of who throws out the first pitch for Washington here, this organization is definitely in shambles right now. 4-game losing streak, 1-9 straight up in their last 10. The Nats lineup's in the bottom 10 in home scoring. Meanwhile, defensively, they're in the bottom 10 in striking batters out. They're taking on a Braves club who won 7 out of their last 9, and they rank in the top 10 in scoring on average per game. Freddie Freeman's hit 24 homers and knocked in 63. Meanwhile, Ozzie Albies is 11th in the bigs with 76 RBI. Now, pitching-wise, the Braves are allowing just 3.9 runs a game when they travel. And, of course, they got Charlie Morton on the bump here today. He's 10-4 with a 3.52 ERA and a 1.10 whip. Now, the righties also struck out 148 batters in just 128 innings of work. So, once again, that's 148 strikeouts for Morton. When it comes to the total in this one, the Braves are 19-13 to the under in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, Washington saw 61% of their contests at Nationals Park this year stay under the line as well. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves minus 145 and the under 9 runs. Next ball game, Reds, Phils, 7:05 East. The Phillies are minus 170, totals 8.5. Zach Wheeler for the Titans, Tyler Mahle for Cincinnati. Despite some really good numbers out of Mahle, the Reds have lost 3 out of their last 4 ball games, and they walk more batters per 9 than any other pitching staff in the majors. They're taking on a first-place Phillies club who won 8 out of their last 10, and they win over 60% of their contests at Citizens Bank Park. This Phillies pitching staff, they fan just about 10 batters a game at home. A lot of strikeouts in South Philly. And of course, Zach Wheeler, he's been electric. He's got 10 wins on the season along with 181 strikeouts. The righties coming into today's contest with a 2.42 ERA and a .99 whip. Now, total-wise, the Phillies' last 6 straight at Citizens Bank Park stayed under the number. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Cincinnati stay under the line. I'm going to lean toward the Phillies minus 170 and the under 8.5. Next ball game, Brewers, Pirates, 7:05 Eastern start time. The Milwaukee Brewers are minus 210, totals 9. Brett Anderson for Milwaukee, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Keller's just 3-9 on the year, 7.06 ERA and a 1.81 whip. The last place Pirates are 33 games below 500, and they score fewer runs than any other team in the majors. They're taking on a first-place Brewers club who won their last 4 straight, and they also allow fewer runs on the road than any other team in baseball. Milwaukee leads the majors in fewest hits allowed per contest away from home. They're also giving up just 3.2 runs a game when they travel. Brett Anderson has a 3.54 ERA and a 1.24 whip. When it comes to the number in this one, Milwaukee went 60% to the under in their last 10 ball games, 30-24 to the under in their divisional games. I'm going to lean toward the Milwaukee Brewers minus 1.5 in the under 9 runs. Next matchup, Indians-Tigers, 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. The Cleveland Indians are minus 120, totals 9.5. Zach Plesac for Cleveland, Tyler Alexander for Detroit. Alexander's lost just one game in 60 innings of work. He's also walked just 14 batters. The Tigers are on a 3-game winning streak, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. This Detroit pitching staff is in the top 10 in fewest runs allowed at home. They're taking on a Cleveland squad who's on a 3-game losing streak themselves, 3-7 straight up in their last 10. This Indians lineup is being held to just 7.5 hits per contest. They're also winning only 45% of their road games. Zach Plesac comes into today's contest with a 4.84 ERA. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Cleveland went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. Detroit's 4-0 to the under in their last 4 at Comerica Park. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers plus $1 in the under 9.5. Next matchup, Cubs-Marlins, 7:10 East. The Miami Marlins are minus 120, total 7.5. Jesus Luzardo for Miami, Albert Alzolay for Chicago. Now, Alzolay is just 4-12 with a 4.71 ERA. The Cubs have lost their last 3 straight, and they have just a 3.62 win percentage when they travel. This Cubbies lineup strikes out nearly 10 times a game away from home. They're also being held to just 7.3 hits a game. They're taking on a Marlins club who ranks in the top 5 in fewest home hits allowed. Miami gives up only 3.4 runs a game at Lone Depot Park. This is also a pretty good spot for Jesus Luzardo to pick up his second win on the year against just a really struggling Chicago team. When it comes to the total on this one, Miami did go 8-2 to the over in their last 10 ball games, 3-1 to the over in their last 4 at home. Meanwhile, the Cubs went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Miami Marlins minus 120 in the over 7.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Orioles versus the Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. The Boston Red Sox are minus 235, totals 11. Nick Pivetta for Boston, Spencer Watkins for Baltimore. Now, Watkins has just a couple of wins on the year, 4.22 ERA and a 1.31 whip. The last place O's have the fewest wins in the American League. They're also 37 games below 500. This Orioles pitching staff gives up more runs per contest than any other team in baseball. They're taking on a Boston club who's in the top 5 in home scoring. Rafael Devers is second in the league with 85 RBI. He's also 5th in the majors with 28 home runs. Meanwhile, Xander Bogaerts is batting .304 with an OPS of 880. This Red Sox lineup is in the top 3 in home hits. They also have Nick Pivetta on the mound here tonight. He's 8-4 with 131 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, 2 out of Boston's last 3 at Fenway got over the line. Baltimore went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Boston Red Sox minus 1.5 and the over 11 runs. Next ball game, Dodgers-Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 155, totals 8. Julio Urias for Los Angeles, Tyler McGill for New York. Now, McGill's got just 1 win on the season. New York also scores fewer runs at home than any other team in the league. This Mets lineup is averaging only 3.5 runs a game at Citi Field. They're taking on a Dodgers club who won 4 out of their last 5, and they rank in the top 3 in road scoring. Justin Turner is batting .289 with 20 homers and 66 ribbies. Meanwhile, Max Muncy's 11th in the bigs with a .937 OPS. When it comes to the pitching in this one, Julio Urias is 13-3 with a .341 ERA and a 1.08 whip. The lefties also struck out 144 batters. Now, when it comes to the number, LA went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. New York's 38-18 to the under in Flushing, Queens. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers minus 155 and the under 8. Next game, A's-Rangers, 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. The Oakland A's are minus 170, totals 8. Cole Irvin for Oakland, Dane Dunning for Texas. Dunning's 5-7 with a 4.07 ERA and a 1.39 WHIP. The last place Rangers lost 8 out of their last 9 ball games. They find themselves 35 games below 500. They're taking on an Oakland club who's on a 7-game winning streak themselves, and they allow just 3.5 runs a game when they travel. Cole Irvin's got 8 wins on the year, along with a 3.45 ERA. The lefties struck out 94 batters and also has a 1.16 WHIP. And when it comes to the total on this one, Oakland went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings. Texas is 29-24 to the over against the AL West. I'm going to lean toward the Oakland A's minus 170 in the over 8. Next game, Rays Twins, 8:10 p.m. East. Rays are minus 170, totals 9. McClanahan for Tampa Bay, Pineda for Minnesota. Despite a lackluster record on the year, Michael Pineda comes into today's contest with a 3.83 ERA and a 1.20 WHIP. Minnesota's won 6 out of their last 9 with victories over the likes of Cincinnati, Houston, and the White Sox. This Minnesota pitching staff is also in the top 5 in fewest walks allowed per 9. They're taking on a Rays club who leads the majors in strikeouts at the plate. This Tampa Bay lineup fans nearly 10.1 times a game. Meanwhile, pitching-wise, the Rays are in the bottom 10 in road hits allowed. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Tampa's last 6 road games got over the line. Minnesota's seen 63% of their ball games for the entire season get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Minnesota Twins plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs. Next ball game, Cardinals, Royals, 8:10 p.m. East. The St. Louis Cardinals are minus 135, totals 8.5. Jack Flaherty for St. Louis, Mike Minor for Kansas City. The Minor's got 10 losses thus far in the year, 5.39 ERA for the lefty. The last place Royals are 15 games under 500, and they're in the bottom 10 in scoring on average per game. The Royals have also, they have the fewest walks per game at the plate. They're taking on a Cardinals club who's on a 3-game winning streak. They also got the job done in 5 out of their last 6. Now, the Cardinals allow only 7.5 hits per contest, and they also have Jack Flaherty on the mound here today. He's 8-1 with a 2.90 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP. Now, total-wise, St. Louis is 31-26 to the over when they travel. Meanwhile, the Royals saw 4 out of their last 7 interleague contests at Kauffman Stadium get over the line. I'm going to lean toward the St. Louis Cardinals minus 135 in the over 8.5. Next matchup, Astros, Angels, 9:38 East. Houston's minus 140, totals 9 flat. Zach Greinke for Houston, Patrick Sandoval for Los Angeles. Now, Patty's got a 3.39 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP. Sandoval's also got, he struck out 91 batters in just over 82 innings of work. The Angels are in the top 10 in home scoring, top 5 in hits. Shohei Ohtani's leading the majors with 38 home runs. He's also in the top 5 with 84 RBI and a 1.017 OPS. Now, the Angels are taking on a Houston club who failed to cash in on the run line in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. The Astros also took the loss in 6 out of their last 10 ball games as well. This Houston pitching staff is in the bottom 10 in walks allowed. And when it comes to the total, Houston's a staggering 15-3 to the over in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, Los Angeles has seen over 66% of their contests at Angel Stadium get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs. Next ball game, Padres, Diamondbacks, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Star Time. San Diego's minus 175, totals 8.5. Blake Snell for the Pods, Madison Bumgarner for Arizona. Despite a rough first half of the season, Mad Bum's climbed his way back to a very respectable 1.13 WHIP. The lefty's also got 6 wins on the year, and he struck out 82. And as bad as Arizona's been this season, they have successfully cashed in on the run line in 3 out of their last 5 home games. As a matter of fact, Arizona's 29-23 against the number in their home games against National League competition. They're taking on a Padres club who lost their last 2 straight, with one of those losses coming to Arizona last night by the final of 12-3. The Pods have won only 20 out of 45 road games against the National League, and that's good for just 44% in that particular category. This Padres pitching staff is also in the bottom 10 in walks allowed on the road. They're giving up 3.5 free passes a game when they travel. And speaking of walks, Blake Snell's walked 64 batters in just over 96 innings of work. The lefty's got a 4.86 ERA and a 1.56 whip. Now, total-wise, San Diego went 80% to the over in their last 10 outings, 3-0 to the over in their last 3 away from home. Meanwhile, the D-backs saw 7 out of their last 10 outings get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next matchup, Rockies Giants, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. The San Francisco Giants are minus 215, totals 8. Anthony DeSclafani for San Francisco, Austin Gomer for Colorado. Now, the Rockies still have the fewest road wins in all of baseball. They're 13-43 straight up when traveling, and that's good for just 23% in that category. Colorado's currently on a 3-game losing streak, and they're dead last in the league in road scoring. They're taking on a first-place Giants club who's 38-17 at Oracle Park this year. They're also winning 67% of their divisional contests. The Giants pitching staff walks fewer batters than any other team in the majors. They're also giving up just 3.7 runs a game. Anthony DeSclafani, he's 10-5 on the year with a 3.28 ERA and a 1.07 whip. The righties also struck out 118 batters. When it comes to the total in this one, 2 out of the Giants' last 3 home games got over the line, 14-8 to the over in their divisional home games as well. Meanwhile, the Rockies saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with the Giants get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus 1.5 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Blue Jays versus the Mariners, 10:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Toronto Blue Jays are minus 175, totals 8.5. Robbie Ray for Toronto, Chris Flexen for Seattle. Now, Flexen's 10-5 on the year, along with a 3.81 ERA. Seattle's won 3 out of their last 4 ball games, and they're 35-24 straight up at T-Mobile Park. They've also successfully cashed in on the run line in 7 out of their last 10 ball games. They're taking on a Toronto squad who lost 3 out of their last 6 themselves, and they may have to go to work without Bo Bichette and Corey Dickerson. Both are listed as questionable for tonight's contest. Kayvan Biggio, he's also on the IL with back pain. This Toronto lineup's in the bottom 5 in road walks at the plate. They're getting walked only 2.7 times a game when they travel. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Toronto's 35-23 to the under when they bat first. Seattle's 8-2 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners plus 1.5. And the under 8.5 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Brought to you by my website, brockpage.com, where we are going for our 7th straight day of winning premium sports picks on that site. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves minus 145, under 9. Philadelphia minus 170, under 8.5 runs. Milwaukee minus 1.5, under 9. Detroit Tigers plus $1, under 9.5. Miami Marlins minus 120, over 7.5 runs. Boston minus 1.5, over 11. LA Dodgers minus 155, under 8 runs. Oakland minus 170, over 8. Minnesota plus 1.5, over 9. St. Louis minus 135, over 8.5. I'm also leaning toward the LA Angels plus 1.5, over 9 runs. Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1.5, over 8.5. San Francisco minus 1.5, over 9 runs. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 6-0 in our last 6 $1.99 daily best plays on brockpage.com. We're also 6-1 in our last 7 extra daily picks on that very same website as well. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners plus 1.5 and the under 8.5 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Tim Rogers, who said yesterday, I made $400 today tailing this video off of just $15. Thanks, buddy. And I'll tell you what, Tim, that is a great score. Congratulations. $400 profit off of a $15 bet. I am more than happy to help. Once again, thank you to Tim Rogers and congratulations on the great score yesterday. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Once again, guys, if you end up signing up for a membership on that site, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of August. I always tell folks the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.